Whether it's India and Pakistan calling a ceasefire, tensions between Iran and Israel de-escalating, or bold claims about eliminating Iran's nuclear facilities, Donald Trump has a habit of making the world listen. But behind those dramatic headlines is often a different story. When Trump claimed that Iran's nuclear program was obliterated, he wasn't being subtle. He wanted the world to believe that Iran's nuclear threat had been permanently wiped out. But U.S. intelligence told a different story. A leaked report from the Defense Intelligence Agency revealed that Iran's nuclear sites had suffered only minimal damage. And when this information hit the media, Trump didn't explain or backtrack. Instead, he went on the attack, criticizing outlets like CNN and the New York Times, even calling for the reporters to be fired. Ironically, his reaction only made people believe the reports were true. An Iranian outlet even reported that Iran had been warned in advance about the strike, and that it was only intended as a one-time action. But here's the truth. This wasn't Trump's first false claim, and it wouldn't be the last. In fact, Trump has built a public career on lies, exaggerations, and baseless claims. During his first presidential term alone, the Washington Post fact-checkers documented over 35,000 false or misleading statements. That's roughly 21 lies a day. And the Toronto Star reported over 5,000 misleading claims between 2017 and 2019. At first, many news agencies hesitated to use the word lie, but by mid-2019, they stopped sugarcoating it. They began calling things what they were, deliberate falsehoods. Trump's former campaign manager, Steve Bannon, once said, "The real enemy isn't the Democrats, it's the media." And his strategy? Flood the system with confusion and so many conflicting messages that the truth becomes impossible to pin down. After the 2020 U.S. presidential election, Trump repeatedly claimed the election was stolen, even though there was no credible evidence of widespread fraud. This is a fraud on the American public. Frankly, we did win this election. This tactic, a lie repeated so many times it begins to sound like truth, echoes a notorious propaganda strategy called the big lie. According to experts at the New Republic, Trump's words aren't just lies, they're nonsense, statements with no basis in fact or logic. Yes, politicians lie, but historians argue Trump is in a league of his own. Historian Douglas Brinkley put it simply, "We've had presidents mislead the public before, but no one has ever lied as frequently, as aggressively, or as shamelessly as Donald Trump." In 2018, the Washington Post created a special fact-checking category called the Bottomless Pinocchio. It's for false claims repeated more than 20 times, even after being proven false. Trump had 14 statements added to the list immediately. CNN's fact-checker Daniel Dale once said that Trump spread so many new lies so quickly that journalists struggled to keep up. And this behavior didn't start in the White House. It's decades old. Back in 1984, Trump told GQ magazine he owned an entire Manhattan block. In reality, he only owned 2 buildings, just a sixth of the block. That same year, he lied about his net worth to make it onto Forbes' list of richest Americans. He even pretended to be his own spokesperson, using a fake name, John Barron, to brag about his wealth to reporters. Eventually, Forbes caught on. Their editor later said, "For 30 years, we've had a rule, whatever Trump claims, we divide it by 3. In 1987, after the stock market crashed, Trump claimed he sold his stocks before the collapse. But official records showed he lost $19 million. In 2009, after buying a golf course in Florida, Trump installed a monument claiming that a bloody Civil War battle had taken place there. Historians later confirmed no such battle ever happened. Trump had fabricated history to glorify the property and himself. He also claimed to have won 18 golf championships, but the truth? He only won 2. The rest were at clubs he owned or managed, and members were allegedly threatened with canceled memberships if they outperformed him. His ghostwriter for The Art of the Deal, Tony Schwartz, later admitted, "I wrote that book and I regret it. I helped create a false image of Trump. Even that book was filled with distortions." Trump wrote that his grandfather was American-born. In fact, his grandfather immigrated from Germany, a fact Trump tried to hide due to post-World War II anti-German sentiment. In 2016, Trump claimed that in his 2000 book, The America We Deserve, he predicted the 9/11 attacks and warned about Osama bin Laden. But the book never said any of that, and bin Laden had already been on the U.S. Most Wanted list since 1998. These weren't just slips, they were part of a pattern. Say anything, no matter how untrue, if it gets attention. Within 6 months of launching his 2015 campaign, Trump was dubbed the King of Whoppers by factcheck.org. They said, "In 12 years, we've never seen one politician tell this many lies." He also spread a wild conspiracy claiming fellow Republican Ted Cruz's father was involved in JFK's assassination. It wasn't true, but it dominated the headlines. Cruz lost the nomination. When former KKK leader David Duke endorsed him in 2016, Trump claimed he didn't know who David Duke was or what the KKK stood for. an unbelievable statement given their infamy in American history. And there's more. In the 1970s, Trump and his father were sued by the U.S. Justice Department for racial discrimination, refusing to rent apartments to black tenants. In the 90s, he said he didn't want black accountants handling his money. On the campaign trail, he frequently called Mexican immigrants rapists and criminals. So when he pretended not to recognize the KKK, many Americans saw it not as ignorance, but as alignment. Even in 2022, while speaking at a rally, Trump said, "I'm the most honest human being God ever created." The audience? They laughed. Is Trump just another politician who bends the truth? Or is he something more dangerous, a leader who has made lying a political weapon and confusion a deliberate strategy? Because when lies become normal, truth becomes meaningless, and that's when democracy is truly in danger.